USAID Timor Leste, and I'm very happy to introduce the USAID Agency Chief Climate Officer, Gillian Caldwell. She's visiting us from Washington, D.C. And next to her, I also would like to introduce my USAID Timor Leste colleague, Mudansa de Silva. And with that, I think I can hand over to Gillian to say a few words or answer questions, I guess.
Did you want to translate that? Yes.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah. Bom dia, mijn naam is Emma Simonigus, hou diretora missão do USAID Timor Leste. Hou contente de introduzir a chefe oficial climática Liane, Gillian Caldwell, nós temos Soren, Flávia da Silva, missão oficial climática do USAID Timor Leste. Eu agora você passa pelo fala da Gillian, então estou lhe falando.
Thank you so much, Mana Zema and Mana Flavia. This has been a fantastic week in Timor-Leste. The mission here is so dedicated and passionate, and I think doing really excellent work on the ground. USAID has been proud to provide over $323 million since independence to various projects here in Timor-Leste focused on promoting democracy and development, economic development, and environmental sustainability, amongst many other things. And we're really proud to have such a strong partnership with Timor-Leste throughout the government. I was very pleased to meet with almost all the ministers and secretaries of state, as well as to have a lengthy conversation with your president, Jose Ramos Horta. And all of this helped me understand both the challenges and the opportunities that you are facing here in Timor-Leste.
A oportunidade é fantástica que teve essa visita Yane, recente a equipe de Yane excelente Yane, a agência da USAID a mim sente orgulho teve essa mãe contribuindo durante desde a independência a mim contribuindo quase 1.350.000 para ir a Timor Leste e a programas da ONU inclui para promover a democracia e a área de desenvolvimento a sustentabilidade ambiental. Nós estamos contentes com a parceria entre o governo de Timor Leste e os Estados Unidos. E o visita no Bema Halau por equipa membro do governo nessa ministra de Negócios Estrangeiros, nosso secretário de Estado do Ambiente, nós vamos conversar com o presidente, a me colher com desafios, nossas oportunidades no Bema aqui.
The focus of my trip here was looking at the climate crisis and what we can do to avert the climate crisis here in Timor-Leste, which, like so many other small island states, is facing very serious consequences.
Foco na Bema que se visita a atuar com a crise climática, especialmente os Timor nessa ilha na Bema que atuar com sama e também acesso a crise climática
Climate change is new to many people, and I just thought I'd explain it as simply as possible for your readers and your listeners. You can think of climate change as a problem whereby there's like a blanket of pollution surrounding the earth, and it's trapping these gases, carbon dioxide gases, that cause the temperature of the earth to warm over time.
Mudança climática talvez veja esse assunto da fome vai embora, também uma cara explica de maneira fácil de para lá em Sira, que lá em Sira, mudança climática é um problema no bema poluição e a atmosfera, no bema gases, é dióxido de carbono, no bema ataca planeta no bema calor para a temperatura sai mais.
So it might sound nice to think about the world getting a little bit warmer, but I think you know otherwise here in East Timor, what we are seeing, of course, is extended droughts, much more serious rain, catastrophic landslides, and many other impacts on your daily lives.
Dalam rumah tahanuin dian temperatura sarai manas bele dia, mas dia impacto ne makas teves. Masa ita hare bele rai marang ita bela acontece clervitan, o tempo udang bele muda, dia tempo ne bele muda umoi, e depois rai mono o impacto negativo sercelo também bela acontece.
So I prefer to refer to this as a climate crisis, not climate change and not global warming. This is the reason that your farmers can no longer predict when it will be appropriate to plant or harvest their crops.
Tamanema eu prefere refere bem nessa crise climática, lá os mudança climática será aquecimento global. Também idane for desafio da agricultor na insira atu decide banheira na sira bele kuda sirkan.
As glaciers melt in colder parts of the world due to rising temperatures, sea level is rising. Here, every year in Timor Leste, sea level is rising, and other islands in the Pacific will eventually be underwater due to this crisis if we do not take very serious action now.
Glacier nesse namlele e depois quando a temperatura não se sai bem e nesse afetamos a taxinha level né de taxa se sai bem. Nessa Timor Leste como ita ilha nessa moça ilha serme Pacífico sercelo bele hetang afeto negativo dele também ita tem que forte ação ida.
Now, as you may be aware, the climate crisis has mostly been caused by developed countries like the United States and those in Europe who have been producing many more carbon dioxide emissions than a small island country such as yourself.
Nessa caribalo hatene, nação desenvolvida sirabalo, nessa sira Europa siramos, sira produz outra emissão bem macas.
That is why President Biden is so dedicated to tackling the climate crisis, and he has committed that the United States will reduce our carbon emissions 50 to 52% by 2030. 50 to 52.
50 to 52. Também o presidente Biden dos Estados Unidos ia compromisso atu contra idane ia compromisso idane bem atu a menos emissão de dióxido de carbono né 50 a 52% by 2030.
USAID has launched a new climate strategy that will guide our efforts through 2030, and we have ambitious targets through our partnership with countries like Timor Leste and many others around the world.
USAID foi uma lança strategia climática nebema ia target ser nebema se halo ba 2030. Target ser nebema ambicioso teve esse serviço remoto com a Santa nessa Timor Leste.
Some of our goals under our climate strategy include reducing carbon emissions by 6 billion metric tons. 6 billion tons is approximately is the same emissions as a country about the size of both Vietnam and Myanmar combined. It's the same amount of pollution as all of the carbon pollution generated by the United States, 1.5 times what the US generated in 2021. So 6 billion tons of carbon, which is our goal for reduction by 2030, is a lot of carbon dioxide.
Parte desse trajeto de NEMA, atu prevê toneladas bilhão nem, com dióxido de carbono, emissão de dióxido de carbono ne hanesan mos emissão husi Cambodia ho Vietnam, no mos hanesan mos hasai emissão anual ida husi Estados Unidos, hanesan 40 bilhão ida sai husi Estado.
In order to do that, we are also committing to preserving 100 million hectares of carbon critical landscape. Carbon critical landscape is especially important. These are seagrasses and mangroves and trees that can absorb carbon pollution from the atmosphere.
Nessa nossa se conserva milhões atos ida hectares, ou se landscape nebema critical va atu conserva atu bele lahasai carbono, dióxido de carbono, nema hanesa mangroves, no mosi grass, dutasi.
By the way, one thing, ignore the comment about the Philippines and Vietnam. Just focus on the fact that the 6 billion tons is 1.5 times U.S. emissions in 2021, please.
1.5 times?
Yeah. 6 billion tons of carbon emissions is 1.5 times all U.S. emissions in 2021. That's how much we want to reduce by 2030. The reference to Myanmar and Vietnam is that when I say we want to preserve 100 million hectares, that's how those two countries combined represent about 100 million hectares, so they can visualize how much land that is.
Okay. Desculpa tahu have temi konvabe Myanmar ho Filipina ne. Dene prato dian konvas milhões sanulu resti idane minha medida bota nessa ne. Mas atu dian konva bilhão nem toneladas mesmo a ser reduz ne hanesan ho metade ida ho metade 1,5 vezes por si emissão Estados Unidos nia ne hasan equivalente ida ne atarede nian be equivalente.
Our climate strategy also has a goal to increase the resilience and adaptive capacity of 500 million people, 500 million people worldwide. So supporting people to adapt to the climate crisis, whether that is drought or extreme rains.
Strategia climática de Nemos articula com a hadia resiliência, nomos adaptabilidade se emasra 500 milhões de pessoas a tuvele adapta para mudança climática.
We also want to mobilize $150 billion in climate finance by 2030. So this means working with the private sector to stimulate investment to increase climate smart agriculture, for example, and advanced renewable energy such as solar.
Nemos anesan amimos se mobiliza osan dolar 150 bilhões nebema atu by 2030 e a maneira que halo de nema serviço ho setor privado para han saber investe e agricultura climate smart agricultura nebema toma conta agricultura climática tu e depois energia renovável.
So before I close and allow questions, let me give you a few concrete examples of work we are doing here in Timor Leste as USAID in partnership with organizations here. We talk about climate smart agriculture. Yesterday, we drove 2 hours up the coast to see a brand new project in collaboration with partners there.
Antes ataka hatu foi exemplo concreto ida quando há serviço iane há essa parceria ida no Timor Leste, por exemplo, ia climate smart agriculture, ou seja, a minha halo viagem horas tu a sair Sidili.
We saw a plot of land where previously nothing was growing, and there was a 2-week-long training helping the farmers in the community understand what crops to plant, where to plant them, and also how to till the soil and ensure that we maximize the capture of water, because drought is such a problem. So there were trenches dug around the plantings to ensure that the water stays inside the earth and can help the many plants grow.
Mitoya fating dane, ulo fating dane la iha buat tidak fating rai mamu, mas depois ho treinamento mapu ve mame oferece, agora sira bele sira hatene ona tipo husi crop ne crop si aihan tipo aihan sira mas sira bele kuda e depois bahira ma bele kuda aihan idane. No maneira hansa ma bele fiarai, no maneira hansa ma bele conserva B, tamba rai marang halo B mos menos, tamba nema hansa maneira hansa para bele halo hansa maximiza utilização B niane para sira bele para rai dane bele bukur na fatin. Atu kudari han.
We also went to Atauro Island and were able to see the marine biodiversity and the support that USAID is providing to enhance tourism on the island, because we know that you need to think about other sources of income beyond petroleum. How are you going to develop the country? Agriculture is one important area and tourism is another. So we are supporting ecologically conscious tourism.
Amimos bayar Atauro, nubema haremos rasi konaba biodiversidade marina nia. Ne hanesan apoio da visi USAID meu roto bayar turismo. Nebe hanesan atu hare visi sedamak itabel halo além da visi petróleo. Nemak ida mak visi turismo, ne ida tam visi agricultura.
We also went to see a plastic upcycling plant. As you'll be aware, there is not a lot of recycling at the moment on the island. So this plant is taking all sorts of plastic and turning it into pavers for the roads and tiles. And this is important because plastic it pollutes the waterways and the oceans. And the production of plastic and the burning of plastic causes much more carbon pollution to go into the atmosphere. So we have to reduce the use of plastic. That is why the government of Timor Leste has a new zero plastic policy.
Amimos para planta Aliança Reutilização Plástico, ou em inglês é Bolupua. Iha ne ladu iha halo reciclagem, mas iha ne ladu iha reciclagem, mas iha pua planta pua niane sira foti plástico, naran qualquer plástico ida nebe, mas sira bele halo fila fali bahanesan bloco, ka halo bastrada, halo fali ba seda mak bele usa fe fali para bele hameno também tahare plástico ia tinação barak tebes e secar itala la recicla plástico cerne, ita se suno quando suno ita contribui para dióxido de carbono e aumenta fila fali ba temperatura manas e ba idane. Também ma governo mas hala unian zero política zero plástico. Ninian objetivo mas atau hal idane para menos plástico para suno para contribuir fila fali ba dióxido de carbono e atmosfera.
The last example I will give before we move to questions is a new announcement that we made of a $4 million investment in addressing food insecurity. As you probably are aware, Timor Leste is one of the most food insecure nations in the Pacific, meaning that many people in Timor Leste don't have enough food to eat and they aren't getting enough nutrition. So 47% of your children are facing stunting, which is affecting their growth and intellectual development.
Exemplo itu sila tama hak antisita muda ba sangikos de nema a minha filha da kami anuncia 4 milhões de dólares e no projeto ida vivema atu hareba segurança aihania hanesan ita hatene karik iha Timor Leste hanesan asami de vivema segurança aihania nela dunia iha Pacifico Island iha area de linha la iha tambah hang ada suficiente, não mos lá nutrição suficiente ida para lavar esse roto. Se por exemplo a estatística até dia 47% se lavar sira traz badar. Sim, dene também mak atu ajuda dene apoio dene para atu bele hareba dene para segurança iham.
So this new $4 million project in partnership with the FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN, will focus especially on women who are pregnant and lactating, and it will focus on helping farmers develop nutritious crops, diverse crops, and to grow them in ways that are climate smart so they can withstand the droughts and the flooding that you are experiencing.
Neve parceria ba osan de projeto de 4 milhões de dólares ne parceria com FAO para tohare liu ba ina singua sira nomos ina serve ma fosse subvencionar uang nomos ba agricultores sira para to bele kuda ai han será nebema com nutrição especialmente o técnico servema com climate smart agriculture ne para bele responder com atmosfera que iha raimarang ka iha tempo uda ne será bele kuda ai han pati.
Okay, so let's move to questions which may be more interesting for you.
Senti dia klita muda liwa pergunta kali ne interessante klita sei.
So now we'll have